Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute for today's Small Biz Hangout, NHLBI Product Development Services. I'm Chris Asiela, the Regulatory Specialist within the Office of Translational Alliances and Coordination, and the host of today's event. In a moment, I'll introduce our presenter, but first, I'd like to share some information about today's webinar. Our Small Biz Hangouts are educational events, and the services described today are available to our NHLBI awardees. If you are developing an NHLBI-funded technology and are interested in engaging one or more of the services described in today's Hangout, please contact our office at the URL listed on this slide. If your technology is not supported by NHLBI but is supported by some other institute or center within NIH, we encourage you to reach out to your NIH program officer to explore if the institute or center that's supporting your work offers similar types of support. You can find your program officer's contact information on the top left corner of your summary statement, in your notice of award, or in your ERA Commons account. A couple of housekeeping items about today's video. If you're having trouble joining the video session but you can actually hear my voice, I would encourage you to try leaving and then rejoining the event, and hopefully you'll be able to catch it then. If you're still unable to connect, we will be posting this to our website in the future, so you'll have the opportunity to listen after the fact. There are multiple ways to join the audio portion of today's event. You can listen directly from your computer. If you're having difficulties with your computer's audio, please check your volume control. Sometimes you've muted it and forgot to unmute it. If that doesn't work, you can try having the event call you using the Call Me icon on the home screen, or you can call in using the telephone and event number that you received in your registration confirmation email. If you listen via phone, you may want to mute your phone line to minimize any feedback that might occur due to having the computer and your telephone audio on at the same time. And finally, if you prefer to view the event using live closed captioning, you can use either the link identified here on this slide or use the media viewer option within WebEx, and that option is available on the right-hand sidebar of the event. All participants will remain on mute throughout the webinar. You can submit your questions at any time via the Q&A panel on your screen. If you're viewing the event in full screen mode, you can hover over the small green bar at the top of your screen to get to the Q&A panel. Please send your questions to the panelists. In this way, other audience members assuredly will not be able to see them. We may get multiple similar questions. If this happens, we'll address them with a single answer, so be aware that you may not hear your exact phrasing when a question is asked and answered. I just want to remind you, you can type in questions at any point during the event. We'll stop periodically to check and see if there are any and answer them. And finally, I'd like to make you aware that this webinar is being recorded. The recording will be posted to YouTube along with our other archived NHLBI Small Biz Hangouts. And the link for that will be sent out within 1 week of today's webinar. Now, to introduce our presenter. Dr. Matt McMahon is the Director of the Office of Translational Alliances and Coordination at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. He leads our office to enable the development and commercialization of research discoveries funded by the Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. He recently served as the NIH representative on the National Evaluation System for Health Technology Planning Board and the Associated Registry Task Force. He previously created and led the National Eye Institute's Office of Translational Research to advance ophthalmic technologies through public-private partnerships with the pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries. His previous experience includes service as the principal scientist for the bionic eye company Second Sight Medical Products and as a staff member on the Senate and House of Representatives committees responsible for science, technology, and innovation policy. At this point, I'm going to stop sharing my presentation, and I'm going to hand the presentation over to Dr. McMahon. Welcome, Matt.
Great. Thanks a lot, Chris. Happy to be here to talk to you all about our product development support services. As Chris mentioned, I'm from the Office of Translational Alliances and Coordination, and we're a group within the Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute that's really designed to help transform the discoveries that come from NHLBI-funded research into products that help patients. So the topic of this webinar is about our product development support services. So who is this webinar for? It's for companies who are supported by NHLBI's Small Business Program. So any company that's been supported since June of 2015 is eligible to receive these services that I'm going to explain to you. So that could be a SBIR awardee, an STTR awardee who received either a contract or a grant from NHLBI. So why did we create this program? Well, as many of you know, the road from an idea to an actual product or service that's available in the clinic or the hospital is a really long road. For drugs, it can take like tens of years and hundreds of millions of dollars. And for devices and diagnostics, it might be a little bit better, but it's still really slow and expensive. And we recognize that the funding that we provide to you through the Small Business Program is just a small fraction of what you're going to need to be successful, to make it all the way through that pipeline to a product that's available for patients. So what can we do to really facilitate your successful navigation of that road? Well, to figure that out, we actually asked you. We interviewed over 50 companies to find out what kinds of things we could be doing that might be useful for you. And I'm just going to show you a little graphic here and describe to you what we found out. So the traditional approach here is company with an idea, NIH provides small business funding, and then there's this long road that takes you all the way to the product at the end. But what we really wanted to do is we wanted to figure out what extra things do you need that can really maximize your chances of being successful. And what we heard from you is that there are two components. One is this connection to investors and partners who can actually take your project and move it further along that pipeline by providing additional funding and resources to take you further down that road. But before you even get there, we heard a lot of people tell us that there are plenty of kind of advisory services that would be really useful to them. So I've listed here a whole bunch of different things that companies identified that they could use some help with. Preclinical development, clinical development, manufacturing issues. There's the whole regulatory side of the puzzle and reimbursement issues about how you're going to get paid for your product later down the road. And then a whole host of business development and general management issues, finance. These are all the kinds of things that especially academic innovators might not have as much experience with. So there's a lot of expertise in the kind of technology development part, but what we're trying to do is help our companies out who we fund on the real business development side of things. So there are these two components, the advisory services and this partnering approach. So what did we decide to do to help you out? So the first track is related to this mentoring. So first we'll listen to you. You can submit your request, tell us what your needs are, and then we're going to match you up with some mentors that have some expertise to help you out with the topics that you've identified. So a really important thing to tell you about is who are these mentors? What's the kind of expertise that we're offering up to you? Well, one category is early stage investors. So we have angel investors like from Life Science Angels or Tech Coast Angels. We have venture capital folks from places like Broadview Ventures. Then we also have people with really deep product development expertise who work for companies like Eli Lilly or Bristol Myers Squibb, device folks from Medtronic, Boston Scientific. And then another category is we have a whole group of entrepreneurs who really have experience in managing and running a small business. So they've encountered a lot of these problems that you've encountered before when you're trying to develop your product, not just the technology, but from a business development point of view too. So the other thing that we do is we want to prepare you to be able to go out and make those connections that you're going to need to move your products forward. So this is for companies that are actively seeking follow-on funding. And it's really like basically preparing you for a Shark Tank-like environment. So there's two parts of that. The first part is honing your presentation and really getting you ready to pitch. And then the second part is making sure that we can get you in front of the right people to give your pitch. So in these second two tracks here, you can see pitch coaching and conference support. If that's the kind of thing that you need and you request that from us and you're accepted into that track, we'll arrange for some pitch coaching sessions together with our investor in residence and possibly some other mentors, and you'll give your pitch and you'll get some real direct feedback on how you can improve that pitch. And then in addition to that, you can identify a conference where you're likely to be able to meet up with to deliver that pitch to investors and people who are likely to be interested in your product. And we will provide you with registration support to attend a meeting like that. Now, the third track is very similar to that, but it involves two very specific events, our Innovation Conference and the Life Sciences Summit. So in that track, you attend a half-day conference that comes before the Life Sciences Summit, which is organized by NHLBI, and we bring a bunch of our mentors and coaches to that meeting, and we have real targeted presentation coaching sessions where you can get direct feedback from a whole host of people on not just your presentation, but also on issues related to your product development plan and your business development plan also. And then the following day, you attend the Life Sciences Summit, which is really a premier kind of life sciences partnering meeting where lots of investors are there, and you can get exposure and give your pitch to a group of people and hopefully make the kind of relationships that will really help you move your product forward. So just to give you an example of a success story, in 2014 we had an innovation conference, and one of the companies who was there was Paul McMahon. And Paul McMahon's developing a drug for pulmonary arterial hypertension. So at that innovation conference, they met some folks from Broadview Ventures, and they developed a relationship, and over time that relationship it resulted in $1 million VC investment from Broadview and Paul McMahon that's really going to help them move their product toward clinical trials. So those are the kind of success stories that we're trying to facilitate. Now, one thing to point out about these services is that we are going to really do our best to accommodate as many people as we can, but we do have limited resources. So as far as providing registration support for meetings or the number of slots that are available for the Life Sciences Summit, we'll do the best that we can, but we are somewhat resource constrained there. Now, how do you go about applying? So I just want to show you, this is our NHLBI Small Business Program website. And there's in the bar over on the left, you can see this Product Development Support Services tab. So here is all of the information about our Product Development Support Services. And down at the bottom is this link to the Request for Services. And if you click on that, you can bring up our application. And the application is really very simple. I'll drag it over here so you can see. So basically, it's just asking you which one of these tracks you'd like to be considered for, and tell us what your needs are. Tell us what you really need help with. And the second part of this request for services is filling out a profile about your company. Now here there's lots of information about the stage of your company, where you are in the regulatory path, information about the structure of your company, the type of product that you're developing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but the reason that we ask about that information is because we really want to get a good sense of your stage of development, and we really want to understand your needs so that we can do the best job possible of matching you up with mentors who can give you the advice that's going to be useful to you. So what are the next steps here? So the requests for services are due on June 12th. And we'll take all those service requests and evaluate them and see how many companies we can accommodate in these tracks, and we're going to notify people on June 28th. So you can always find more information at our website, and we also have a specific contact form where you can send email questions to us and even arrange for a phone call if it would be useful for you to get some more information. So let's see if we have any questions from people on the line.
So Matt, I'm taking a look at the Q&A box, and I am not seeing any questions, nor are there any in the chat box. So it seems like people are understanding everything that you're sharing.
Excellent. So we're really happy to be able to provide this opportunity to folks. We hope that you apply and tell your friends at other companies who are supported by NHLBI, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot.
Actually, hang on, Matt. We do have one question, and the question that came in is, when is the Life Sciences Summit?
The date of the Life Sciences Summit is, just a second, I'll find that out for you. The Life Sciences Summit is November 1st and 2nd.
Excellent. And that is all of the questions. Oh, wait, no. We have another question. And the second question is, how do we communicate with coaches? Is this person-to-person or virtual?
Great question. So in the first track of mentoring and coaching, those mentoring and coaching sessions will be virtual. So they can be for general kind of product development coaching. We usually do those by phone. And for pitch coaching, we do them by WebEx so that folks can share their slides and even have video of them doing their presentation. Now, on the third track, the Innovation Conference is an in-person event where you're pitching live to the coaches and the mentors who are there. And then the next day at the Life Sciences Summit, totally live, in-person, at the meeting, pitching in front of the crowd. So the initial mentoring track is by phone. Pitch coaching is generally done by WebEx. And then if you request and are selected for the Innovation Conference and the Life Sciences Summit, that's in person.
Excellent. I think we have another question that's just come in. And the question is, are these applications accepted only once per year?
Another great question. So right now we're releasing this request for applications with a deadline that I mentioned to you, partly because we need to plan for the showcase companies, the showcase company events that people are requesting registration support to attend. But in general, the mentoring support that we offer is something that I expect will continue to provide year-round. So that's really the intention. We're here, our office is here to help people at any time. So we have 3 entrepreneurs in residence that work in the office. Chris is our full-time regulatory specialist. And we also have a business development person who works with a small business program. And so our internal support and even advice from our mentors can be had anytime throughout the year. But for requesting the pitch coaching support and registration support to attend a meeting, we're rolling that out with a specific application date so that we can see what kind of interest we get and match it up with our resources.
Excellent. The questions are rolling in, so we have 2 more. I'm going to give them to you one at a time. The first is, how many people from a company can attend the Life Sciences Summit?
That's a good question. Generally, we've supported one person's registration fee to go to the meeting, but we would encourage you to bring as many people from your company as you can to be there at the meeting.
And then another question about the Life Sciences Summit. At this meeting, do large medical device companies send representatives that would allow for connecting with potential partner companies?
Yes, they do.
Excellent. That covers all of the questions that have come in thus far. Do we want to just wait one more moment and perhaps see if any additional questions come in?
Sure, we can see if anybody comes up with anything else.
Also, I'd like to supplement some information that Matt provided earlier. In addition to the regulatory EIR and business development mentors that we have on staff here at NHLBI, we also have a person on detail with us from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office who can help our awardees understand some of those questions that they might have about applying for and negotiating with the USPTO in relation to intellectual property issues. And we have been rewarded with another question while we chatted. The new question is, can a company request product development, pitch coaching, and life science? The question seems to be somewhat incomplete, but
I think I understand the question.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd like people to request one of the 3 tracks, but if you go back to the kind of schematic there, if you request the Innovation Conference Mentoring and Life Sciences presentation, you'll get pitch coaching there, but there's also the availability to have optional mentoring sessions. So not only would you receive pitch coaching and in-person pitch coaching at the Innovation Conference and then support for the Life Sciences Summit, but we can definitely, we anticipate that we can also supplement that with some mentoring sessions with outside experts too.
Excellent. And at this point, we are out of questions. So thank you, everyone, for attending today. I think we had some very lively discussion. I look forward to our office receiving lots of really worthy and meritorious applications for these services. And with that, we will conclude today's webinar. And again, I thank you very much for your attendance.